If there's one universal experience that all Dungeon Masters can attest to, regardless of experience level, is the idea of you putting something into the campaign world to either help out the party or just be a cool thing that they can encounter every once in a while, and then them obsessing over it or throw you an absolute curveball that leaves you feeling like, I should have seen that coming. But he didn't, and now we have to deal with this. But also, that's kind of the fun of being a Dungeon Master. Setting something up and then seeing how the players react to it and even how the dice help tell the story. It's one of the reasons why I like being a Dungeon Master. This is a story from one of my campaigns where this exact scenario played down. But before I go into the story, I do need to set up some context as to why I went this route and, well, how it eventually started to explode in my face. You see, in this campaign, we have been playing as a group for a while at this point, and no one really wanted to be a dedicated healer, and to me that is absolutely fine. I honestly think that players should play the character that they want to play and not so much focus on the role, then you as the Dungeon Master can adjust accordingly. That's what I tell my players, and the solution I came up for to accommodate for them having really no healer, and as a result relying more on short rest, long rest, and healing potions, is to provide an extra boon depending upon the type of town that they visit. If it's a pretty good sized town, city, or metropolis, they could go to an inn, and then depending upon the size, can potentially pay more for a better room and therefore a better bed. The most basic accommodation, nothing happens. If they spend a little bit extra with the next tier up from basic, they get an additional 1d4 temporary hit points after a successful long rest. And then the next tier up will be a d6, capping off at a d8, which the d8 ones are really only available in Metropolis. I figured this was a fun way to work around the party not having a ton of healers, provide temporary hit points, and also give them something additional to spend their gold on, as well as highlight the different size of different cities. Just a way to make it feel a little bit more lived in, unique, and interesting. Is this balanced and really well thought out game design? Absolutely not, but it worked for the game, and honestly, the party absolutely loved it, so in that area, it is a success. But you sitting there listening to this story, you can already put 2 and 2 together of where this was eventually going to go, and probably are laughing at the fact that I didn't see it, because trust me, looking at my past self, I too laugh at the fact that I didn't see it. You see, the party went to one of these towns, and we were introduced to this mechanic of temporary hit points if you spend a little bit of extra gold. The party absolutely loved this and thought this was a great idea and a fun concept. They went through with it, had a long rest, got a d4 temporary hit points, which then led to our rogue and, well, a human lingering soul, which is effectively a ghost class created by Matt Mercer. Like I said, this was a very weird party. They were on one of the Moonshale Isles and planning to head up to Luskan along the Sword Coast. They knew they were going to be on a vessel for a little bit, so rather than sleeping on one of those hammocks, the rogue and lingering soul decided that, well, let's just try and steal this thing. How did I not see this coming? So naturally, the task wasn't going to be so easy. They would have to distract people. They would have to go and try to get the bed out the window or out the door somehow in order to run it straight down to the ship and then leave. I love D&D. This is so stupid. So our bard was going to act as distraction to attempt a performance, though our bard was really bad at performance. Like I said, this was a weird group, but it was a fun group. So our rogue snuck in, grabbed the bed, put it up to the window. With a running start, jammed the bed straight through the window, landing on top of it on the city street, and then grabbing the bed, running down the street up to the ship, and then, well, they left port. For those wondering, yes, the guards were definitely made aware and were chasing after the party. But, well, I mean, it was absolute and utter chaos. They rolled incredibly well on everything, and I watched everything be rolled. I watched everything be calculated. The dice and the universe in that moment decided that, yes, they are in fact going to steal a bed. Because this is D&D, and that's what happens. And so, for the 10-day that was required to make the journey from one area to the next, they got to rest in comfort. Or at least a few of them anyway. But yeah, that's the story of how my party and why my party ultimately decided to steal a bed. Mind you, they couldn't at that time really find a way to take it with them, though I imagine if they really thought about it, they probably would have found a way, but they decided that the gag had seen its day and it was time to let it go. Because you know what? Sometimes the running gag just needs to die as well. And that'll do it for this video, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your craziest shenanigan that happened at the table. And I'll catch you all next time.